want to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Okay.
Right.
I had an opportunity to sit down with Parker, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago, week and a half ago at this point.
Maybe a week and a half ago, yeah.
Week and a half ago for dinner. It was great to meet him and stuff like that. Great to talk about. We talked about a lot of the prospects coming out of the draft this year. One that we really didn't dive into was Shedeur Sanders. I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders because the question is, at least for me, did the bowl game hurt Shedeur Sanders? Parker, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Watching that bowl game, I understand, Shedeur Sanders has all the talent in the world, right? Or as they say, all the potential or the intangibles to do things. For me, if I'm willing to spend a top 5 pick, top 10 pick on a quarterback, I want my quarterback to be able to navigate muddy pockets, right? I, uh, you know, I I want my quarterback to be able to navigate the muddy waters, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
and not always need to operate out of a clean pocket. I would want my quarterback to be able to handle stressful situations or handle less than ideal situations because to me that's the measure of a franchise quarterback. To me, I'm looking at a guy, right, that's probably ideally going to come into a team that's not that good. That's why they have such a top pick. When I watched Shedeur Sanders in that bowl game and throughout the season, it felt like I'm going to sound crazy saying this. It's very similar. It reminds me a little bit of Trevor Lawrence, but I felt like Trevor Lawrence was a little bit more polished. But it was always interesting to see how they performed when things got tough, when things got real hectic in there. Because if let's say the Giants were to draft Fisher or Sanders, he's gonna have to be able to use his legs. He's gonna have to navigate the pocket. He's gonna be able to climb the pocket. He's gonna have to make plays outside of the structure of that offense. And I look at it and I say, I just don't know how Shedeur will handle that. He's not the most vocalized guy, right? He's got his dad typically as his personal spokesman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I just expected more from a Shedeur Sanders playing in a bowl game, right? And I guess that's why a lot of quarterbacks don't play in bowl games because you don't know how that performance is going to look, or you don't know if that's going to hurt your draft stock, or you don't know if you're going to get hurt in the process. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, though, on Shedeur Sanders, though, Park.
Yeah, no, the bowl game thing's always interesting because really, no matter what point in the season it comes, unless it's a championship or semifinal football game, potentially, should one game impact your stock
Mm-hmm.
dramatically? And I don't think I saw anything in that bowl game that was like new or surprising. He performed as expected, in my opinion. Maybe a
Really?
little bit below what he's done all season. But I just haven't been impressed with his film since he's gotten to Colorado. Like he's never been a prospect that's jumped off the screen and excited me. Like I can see what people can like about his game and what people might be projecting from his performances on film, but I've never been a huge fan of what he's able to do. This quarterback class overall, just because you're the top guy at the position that's usually very highly touted and revered in a class doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean you're the top guy in the class or that you deserve to be drafted as high as that player should go. I mean, we've had drafts where there's only been one quarterback in the first round, and I think this should be a year where that happens, though I don't think it will be. I think we'll still get 3 to 4 in the first round, which I just think is crazy just looking at this quarterback class. But Shedeur is who he is, and if you've watched any of the games, I think he's very consistent, which is like a pro for his game for me. Like at least you know what you're going to get out of him, but you're not going to get anything too exciting. He's going to take some deep shots. He's going to throw some check downs and ignore the intermediate part of the field. He's going to scramble around to get himself into trouble, kind of like Caleb Williams used to do. Except Caleb Williams is a lot more slippery than Shedeur is, in my opinion. I don't think Shedeur has that ability to
Mm-hmm.
make these guys miss out on sacks. So anyway, overall Shedeur just hasn't been a prospect that's been exciting to me. I do think he's one of the more stable prospects that has that higher end upside in this class. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why he's kind of landing where he is in the grand scheme of the quarterback conversation. But overall, the bowl game shouldn't throw you either way. But I just think, if that really turns you off, it's just because it was a bigger game on TV that people were paying attention to, and you just haven't been watching Colorado this season.
So for me, I like and I think this is the first time that we've sort of had different stances a little bit. I've watched Shedeur Sanders for the last 2 seasons, and to me, it was always the pocket awareness was never amazing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a guy that we're talking about as being the first quarterback off the board, ideally you'd hope that that would improve. Last year, you had the excuse that obviously, the offensive line wasn't great, right? They went out, added some talent to it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the unnecessary sacks. Joe Burrow said something a couple years ago, and I hate to bring up Bengals related stuff, but he just tipped the hat. Joe Burrow said there are such things as good sacks and bad sacks. To me, Shedeur takes a lot of bad sacks. He puts himself in situations that he doesn't need to be in. And I think it is to what you talked about. You're not going to outrun these defensive linemen, especially when they're coming at you full steam ahead. It's not like how it was when you were at HBCU, essentially, where you were able to just spin around and think you're going to run and juke these guys out the whole 9 yards. You're losing good yards. I've seen Shedeur Sanders multiple times this season take his team out of field goal range, out of the ability to get points on the board, because I feel like there's often times where he looks for the boom play. The reason why I brought up the bowl game, obviously, it was the latest performance we saw of him, but the question has to be asked: if you're an NFL team on a bigger scale, on a big game like this, right? You had Travis Hunter also playing in that game, which was a little mind-boggling to me. To me, it's like, okay, well, when things get rough for our team, because there's a reason why we're picking in this spot, is Shedeur going to be the type of quarterback? And it's what I think every team should ask themselves about their quote-unquote franchise quarterback. Is Shedeur going to be the type of quarterback that can uplift the talent around him? Can he sneak us out an extra win or two? Because to me, that's going to be what's going to determine his level of success here in the NFL. I don't know. I evaluate the quarterback position a little bit differently. Obviously, I like to watch the film, but I also like to see the mental makeup of quarterbacks and see how they respond to adversity. Because in the NFL, there's so much adversity. Life is not perfect in the NFL. You could play your greatest. You could be amazing. But if the team is not all that good, well, are you going to be able to weather those storms? Are you going to be able to be the CEO of the team? That's my thought process part.